Industry Insider is only available at Promo Corner, the leader in digital marketing for the promotional products industry. Each Monday, they discuss, dissect, and debate a single issue impacting the world of promotional marketing from every industry perspective. Now, it's time for Promo Corner's Industry Insider.
Welcome to another edition of the Industry Insider, your promotional products podcast where you can get all the nerdy news you need to know about. My name is Jeff Franklin, National Accounts Manager with Headwear USA, and I'm joined today by three other incredible folks. But before we get to them, I just need to tell you that this awesome broadcast you guys are about to hear is brought to you today by TechWeld USA, made in a world filled with worry regarding overseas products. They offer many USA-made products to help separate themselves from the promotional products pack. You know, look, for this time of year, there's a couple really great products that they've got that I would highly recommend, like their full color process lunch boxes. Hey, maybe you want to go out for a nice picnic. The weather's incredible outside. All right. So they've got some incredible full color process lunch boxes, whether you're looking for a decal imprint or a full color imprint. TechWeld's full color capabilities on their lunch boxes definitely set themselves apart from the pack. Visit them at techweld.com to see their full color capabilities on their lunch boxes. And look, while you're out doing that picnic, maybe you need some shades as well, you know, some sunglasses. Did you guys know that TechWeld was actually the winner of the Distributor Choice Award for sunglasses? Back in 2019, they won the Distributor Choice Award in that category, which is pretty awesome. They've got many SKUs and they're FDA approved and offer UVA and UVB protection as well. So be sure to go check them out at techweld.com. That's TEKWELD.com. I promise you won't be sorry that you did. Great company to work with. So why don't we say hi to Stephen McFadden? We'll kick it off to him first since Meg's in her closet.
What's up? I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Thrilling.
Jeff, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. Meg Erber, why don't we say hello to you?
So I feel like all of us are having issues today. I mean, Steven, he's always having issues. Jeff had no internet. I have the power washers outside. I think Chris is the only one who showed up today completely prepared.
Don't jinx me. Don't jinx me.
We're gonna let him post.
Flash things working. So here we are. Let's do this.
Chris was ready, that's for sure. I'll give him that. So look, we got a great topic coming to you today, but before we dive into that, Chris, it's customary around here for us to give our special guest a good 3 to 4 minutes to introduce yourself, how you got started in the promotional products industry, and maybe what you've been up to since.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Chris Ruvo. I'm a digital news director with ASI Media and Counselor Magazine. I've been in the industry for a decade now, and I've discovered it completely at random by chance. I was a newspaper reporter covering crime in courts in the Philadelphia area. I was working on Friday and Saturday nights, going to shooting scenes and bank robberies and things like that. And we started to have a growing family. And I said, boy, I sure don't want to be out doing stuff like that on Friday and Saturday night anymore. So I started looking around for a different job. And ASI, as you guys might know, is in the Philadelphia area. They had an opening for a writer. I applied and been there for the last 10 years.
That may have been the quickest introduction we've had on the.
I mean, I have so many more questions about your past job.
I know. Off
topic.
Chris, you know I'm in a murder club with some of your friends. I feel like you could be like it's a ladies who love murder club, and I feel like you could be one of our guests to tell us about.
Meg,
I charge a speaking fee for that one.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Meg, was your ring name Meg Murder Erber?
No.
It probably should be.
My ring name.
Change it now.
Your ring
Change it now. Megan Murder Erber. Okay, got it.
Meg Murder Erber. I want to see that come up. All right, so Chris, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that. I before I got in the industry, I actually did some ride-alongs with state troopers because I was considering getting into criminal justice, believe it or not.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Like the first time I went on a ride-along with the state trooper, we were in a high-speed chase and we went to a bank robbery, and I was like, "This is every freaking day."
It's pretty. It's pretty intense. Pretty intense. I had some fun experiences. Interesting experiences doing it. Things like that, where I had pretty good relationships with certain officers, and they would give me tips to when certain busts were going to go down, things of that nature, and you get to show up on the scene and see. It was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun, but
That's cool.
paid horrible, quite frankly. And then the hours are pretty rough. Like if there's something happens and you're due to get off at 11 o'clock at night and something happens at 10:58, you're working till 1 in the morning. So I was looking for a little bit more stability and found it.
I can imagine for sure. So, all right. Well, the topic that we're going to talk about today is it's certainly something that's affecting everybody out there right now. We're going to talk production and logistics and sort of what to plan for. I think Meg, you coined the phrase the shitstorm that's coming in Q4. No.
That's the technical term that everybody's using, actually. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, Chris, I know that you've been publishing for what seems like months now about everything that's happening at the ports and the global production chain, you know, the supply chain and logistics and all the nightmares that are basically accumulating into like one big giant perfect storm. So why don't you maybe just give us a quick rundown and then we can dive into each thing individually.
Sure. So, I think as everybody's experienced, the biggest impact of this for our industry is we're seeing inventory shortfalls and rising prices as a result of this supply chain disruption. And I think if you have anything to do in the industry, you're just aware of that because it's affecting your day-to-day business. But I think maybe there's a little bit of less understanding as to why it's happening. And really what it comes down to is the global supply chain is a total mess. It's by no means just the promotional products industry. It's everybody. When Walmart and Home Depot are having trouble importing, that means it's a problem for everybody. So basically what it comes down to is that it's, as we all know, most of the products that are sold in North America are produced in Asian factories, primarily in China. And it's just taking a lot longer to get those products from the factories where they're made to North America and then stocked. And that's it in a nutshell. I could go more into it if you want now, or we could kind of take it as we go, but there's a lot of reasons for that.
Sure. Yeah, I know, like from sort of my perspective, I'm seeing, you know, with everything slowing down because of COVID, you know, a lot of, you know, job placement losses and things like that. So with the labor shortage included in that, you know, then things start to come back around and then we're all trying to, you know, place all these orders. Demand shoots through the roof, you know, I think upwards of 40%, if I'm not mistaken. And, you know, so you've got, you know, maybe half of the capacity to produce and then a 40% increase on demand. It's just a nightmare. And honestly, because of the labor shortage and job misplacement, like we're still struggling to get people back to these jobs that we need filled in order to catch up with the demand. And it's just something that's going to continue to sort of snowball, if you will, for the next several months, if not quarters.
Yeah, you gave it. That was a good quick history of it. COVID, when the shutdowns happened, right, last April, May, importing just dropped off. Everybody everywhere just stopped ordering things, and then suddenly it started to bounce back later 2020 much faster than everybody anticipated, and the supply chain just wasn't able to catch up to it. So two of the biggest consequences of that, right, is that there's just not enough available shipping containers to go around, and then the cargo space capacity on ships is limited, and both of those things are coming at a premium that's astronomical. The cost of containers have gone up dramatically. Suppliers in our industry are trying to shoulder that, but even if they're willing to pay these astronomically exorbitant prices, I'll give you a quick stat. I think one supplier told me that last year he was paying like $3,100 for a container to get from China to LA. Now he's paying, see if I get it right here. 10 to 12,000. And just read today in Sourcing Journal that you're looking at potentially 15 to 20 for certain containers. So
hey Chris, did you see what Nike did? I think it was earlier this week. They've offered 15,000 a container. So I'm sure you're going to start to see the people flex that have the money, and I think you guys have touched on this, and it's something I didn't dawn on me. Most of the suppliers in the industry are inventory companies. Yeah, yes, there's some value in the production and the customer service, but if they don't have inventory, they can't sell anything, right? So that's what makes this so dangerous. It's, it's like if you can't get stuff, you can't sell it.
Yeah.
No.
And I think that's a big fear for distributors, right? Is that, and we're hearing this from distributors, is that, oh my gosh, events are coming back. My clients who've been dormant for a year are suddenly like, I need this, I need that. And they're telling them, well, we're not sure. And they're worried about those further shortfalls down the line. Stephen, to your point, I saw something at Home Depot the other day. They basically bought a ship. Did you guys see this? Like I don't think they bought it. I think they contracted it, but still, it was like they were like, okay, we just want a ship. You're going to go back and forth for Home Depot, back and forth, because that's how insane it's gotten to try to get space on cargo ships and to get containers.
Yeah.
Sort of looking at the future of this thing as well, the scary part about this kind of inflation is that, is the price ever going to go back down to where it was? And I'd beg to say no, because if people are paying it, why would they? You know what I mean? I heard somebody talk about sort of the lumber shortage and the mills that are churning out the lumber. I don't think that the lumber prices are ever really going to go back down to where they were, pre-COVID and all this stuff either, because people are paying for it. Why would they? I mean, eventually at some point you're going to meet that sort of that teeter-totter, where you're going to have to, track it back a little bit, because people probably won't continue to pay for it. But I don't think it'll ever go back to pre-COVID prices. And that's the real scary part about all this.
I think people follow the trends of the inflate. What? Oh my gosh, I just had it. When you buy a house, the interest rates are down. It's because they're broke. They can't, once they start going up, like what's going to happen? I mean, honestly, that's why we wanted you here, Chris. You're the expert. You kind of see it all. You're doing this research. It trickles down, because we all grab this information from you and try to, regurgitate it to our customers, who then want to regurgitate it to their customers. Mm-hmm. But it's, unless you can actually see pictures of these containers or actually see this with your own eyes, it's almost hard to believe. Do you have any advice that we should be, something like as easy as a fifth grader can understand? Is there anything that you would give to us to give to the end users at the end of the day?
Yeah, for certain. And we've been harping on it lately, and I think good distributors are already doing this, is to work with both your clients and suppliers now, to get out as far ahead as possible on Q4, because we know that the holiday season is so big for our industry when it comes to gifting and everything. And surprise, Q4 is big for everybody, including retailers. So the demand on shipping and trying to get products here is going to intensify even more than it's already been. And you're one COVID outbreak in China away from things getting even more snarled. To give you an example, I'm going to mangle the pronunciation, but it's a port in southern China. It's like Yuntian, and I'm not saying it right, but about a quarter of the exports that come out of China go through that port. There was, by our standards, a relatively small COVID outbreak in that area, but the authorities there came in, they shut things down. It's gummed up the works at that port for almost a month. And they're now expecting that it could be another month before they're back up to full speed. So all it takes is one little outbreak like that to further, grind the gears and everything. So you want to, as a distributor now, get as far out ahead on ordering and trying to get those orders even in. It may sound silly, like it's July, like you're ordering for December now. No, do it, because especially if you want custom products, number one, and then number two, you want to if you do it now, there's a better chance that your client's going to get those first choice products, and then supplier and distributor could be happy, and most importantly, client.
Yeah. So just real quick from the chat, Manny says hi from Puerto Rico, and then Mandy Rudd, our good friend Mandy Rudd, she chimed in and said that's a really good point. We know things will level out eventually, but once a company, promo, retail, or otherwise, raises prices, that becomes the new norm, and we'll acclimate. She said we saw that with tariffs, and they became begrudgingly the new norm. So, and she also just chimed in and talked about holiday gifting to our clients now. So yeah, like you said, the good distributors are already starting to do that, because they see the issues that we're facing, and can foreshadow that this isn't something that's going to go away yesterday. It's going to continue to come down that pipeline.
I'll say this, if I could, I'll just jump in on the I do not think, and you could make fun of me a year from now if I'm wrong or whatever, but I do not think containers are going to stay at the level they're at. I don't think that that's sustainable. And maybe in the short term, over the next couple of years, it's going to remain elevated. But I do think that if they're charging $3,100 a year ago and they're up to $15,000 now or whatever it might be, that opens a huge gap for disruption to take place, for somebody to come in and say, I can do this better, faster, cheaper. Now, I know that's an industry is pretty cost prohibitive to get in, and there's a lot so I'm not saying that you could just start it up, but I don't think that I do think they'll remain up. I'll say that. I do not think they're going to remain 15,000 a container. I hope.
Well, Chris, I think part of the reason why they are so high, and I think we've kind of talked about it briefly, but it is more of the supply and demand, and most of the issues that we're seeing with the shortage of these isn't mean that they don't exist. It means that they just can't get them back into circulation. A lot of them are just stuck on boats and can't get offloaded, or they're stuck anchored, or so it's like once the inventory comes back, if they see all that excess inventory finally starting to balance out, and that could take a long time, but eventually, like you said, the supply of them will go up, so the cost of them should drop some, hopefully.
Now, to that point, one thing is that because good logistics people are aware of what's going on, they're trying to front load their inventory ordering. So if I instead of ordering for the next some odd months, hey, they're ordering, and this is across industries, not just ours. They're trying to order far out. So eventually, if they get that inventory here, and not everything is immediately gobbled, they're going to have inventory in place. So the demand should start to come down a little. And at that point, you would hope prices start to come down, because they're going to start the shipping companies are going to want to fill containers again.
Sure.
And we saw that with air freight, over the last year as well. Air freight shot through the roof, because obviously a lot of these freight companies use a lot of commercial airliners to, put their cargo on. And so when all the commercial airliners stopped, they lost 60% of their capacity to be able to bring stuff in by plane. So with the increase in demand, because, ships are taking longer or whatever, and air freight increases, and, so the demand minus the capacity, the prices of air freight shot through the roof as well. I mean, that did come back down, but it's still nowhere near where it was pre-COVID. So again, to your point, I think it will come back down. It's not going to stay at $15,000 a container for sure, but I don't think you'll ever see it at maybe 3,000 again, or whatever the price was, pre-COVID. So
it was at like 1,200, if I'm not mistaken, back in like late 2018. I was like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's astonishing to think about. Like, I don't know what that percentage increase is, but it's, many, many, many times over. Yeah.
It's pretty insane.
1,200% or something like that.
Yeah. Just shoulder that, figure that into your costs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. That's why that pencil now costs $4 versus 25 cents. But I don't know if you guys saw it. I was doing some research on the labor shortages, and it freaked me out. Like, one of the third articles that came across was from American Airlines. You were just talking about the airlines, and they are canceling like somewhere upwards like 50% or 70% of their flights. I'm flying out next Tuesday to go to Maine through American Airlines.
No, you're not, Meg. No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
I was just talking to
they'll probably
somebody.
beat us there.
I was just talking to a client, I think it was yesterday actually, and he said that he was in Texas over the weekend and he was flying back, and he was lucky to get out because they canceled like 300 flights or something like that, and he luckily wasn't one of them. But I mean, can you imagine that?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
It's astounding. And those labor shortages, and I think people are aware of it, but we could spell it out. What does that mean for our industry, right? It's hurting suppliers, because if you can't get enough people into the warehouse to pack and do fulfillment and et cetera, it's going to take longer to get orders out the door. If the screen printer can't hire enough folks to work the press, it's going to take longer to get those shirts printed. The related issue then is you're desperate to get people in. So what do? You have to pay more to attract people. So that contributes to these. It's this big circle of nastiness that keeps going around, basically.
100%. So, Stephen, I know you got a little piece of paper there that shows the The
Which
link,
one? I've got a lot
We've
of
been holding
papers.
them, waiting to hold them up for like
the containers coming into like Port of California. So I was gonna say, okay, well,
Yeah.
that begs the question. Okay, if there's so much congestion at the port in LA or wherever, why don't we just bring the containers into a different port? Well, it's not just LA, it's also China. And I think, Chris, you had mentioned that as well. There's, the containers are, taking 2 to 3 weeks longer, I believe, in China before they can even start the trek across the Pacific. And then if you bring them into, let's say, the East Coast or something, then you've got an additional 2 to 3 weeks on the water that way. So it's kind of a wash anyways, there's just nothing you can do to get around it.
Yeah, it's a great point because I had one supplier tell me that, it used to be, let me see, I think I have it written down here somewhere, that it used to be at 14 to 17 days on the water for him to get something to LA. That's like more than doubled. New York now, it's like 45 to 60 days, and that's potentially even rising. So and it's true what you say, Jeff, because it's not just delays here. It's the delays in, even if the factory makes it over in China, it's harder for them to transport it by rail and truck because they're experiencing shortages there too, to the port, to then even get it on the ship, and that's if you can secure the space on the ship. So it's just a mess.
I think I also read a story where someone had, I forget what they had bought, but it was like, maybe it was lumber or something for their deck. I don't remember what it was. And it was supposed to be in January, and it kept getting pushed back. He kept getting emails saying, oh, it got bumped. 6 months later, he finally received. And then instead of getting it in like one, it was supposed to get him like every week or whatever, and ended up getting like 8 containers at once. So it's insane.
Yeah, and I think you're just.
Well, I've got a little chart here that shows kind of the rates, if that's the one you were talking about. And this actually shows that the 40-foot container rate, March of 2020, the average price is $1,200. And and just even you can see the increase now. February of this year was about $4,400. So now you're seeing the 10 to 12,000. So just for comparison's sake, and this just shows you as well, like this isn't just a US issue either. Like there's stuff happening all over the globe as far as the increase in the charts and the rates. So
yeah,
that's like a fantastic point, because we cover to a degree some of what's going on in the European promo market too. So we'll talk to some of the leaders over there in the UK and in Germany and France, and we've written some articles on that, and it's just as bad. And quite frankly, they don't, like, even though we're competing with them, like they're even paying more, because in the US our spending power on the whole is greater. So they're having to spend even more to get stuff delivered. So it's relative to what they were spending, I should say.
And you combine that all with, looking at different graphs and stuff from 2019, like Q1 to Q1 of 2020, there's been a 49% import activity increase. So it's like you can see not only are they more expensive, the demands, there's so much more coming in, they're sitting longer. It's just perfect storm, right? so it's wild. Hey, Chris, I did need to give you a shout out because I totally didn't even realize this until like now. So we had updated our signatures as a company, and I had a hyperlink, and we've added it, and it basically says, get informed with like what's going on with the supply chain management. And I actually have it linked to your June 4th article.
Oh, all right, thank you. Yeah, that's awesome.
I was like, you're the writer. You're the guy that I've been sending him to go read.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Manny said that he's actually talking to his clients now about calendars, because they always wait until just almost the holidays to place their orders for calendars, and he's trying to get ahead of that and get them to get in early. It's actually a really good point. I wonder if holiday cards are the same way. I know we had Mary Ellen on last December. Yeah. I wonder if she's like seeing a huge surge in holiday cards already.
Christmas in July, I tell you, you got to get it now.
Maybe I'll
except literally,
Yeah.
Literally, yeah. So yeah.
Chris, question for you. I've been in Women's Leadership Conference all week, and I know we had someone on, actually it was Bob McLean, and he was talking about industry numbers year over year, 2019 versus 2020. And then I'm trying to see if I wrote my notes correctly, but as an industry last year, we were down 19%.
Yep.
And is that where you guys were thinking?
For 2020, our research at ASI showed that the industry was down almost 20%. It was like 19.8 to be exact. So we were like at around 20.77 billion. Yeah.
Well, do you think, I mean, right now, like I know it's been with all these surges, we feel like we should be up, but when we're looking at numbers, we're still kind of flat. Would you think that is due to the inventory issues and all the supply chain issues that we're dealing with? I mean, that's what I see it as, but I'm in my little bubble too,
Yeah, no. If you were to pin me down, I would say no, it's not the sole reason. I think it's a contributing factor that's hurting, but at least in talking to most distributors I've talked with, say that clients, that it's causing friction. Clients are getting annoyed, and in some cases, yes, it has cost orders. But those distributors are also saying, as long as they can provide like some kind of viable alternative to those first choice products, they're still getting sales, and it's because the client is coming to them wanting whatever it is they want that promotional product for. They still have that need, and they want to use a promotional product to meet that need. That's why they were working with the distributor in the first place. So I don't think it's like the reason, but I do think, is it costing people sales and in some cases business? And are they going, yes, it is.
Yeah, I think the problem is, over the last 15 months, a lot of businesses have been hurting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So when your budget goes out the window, you don't have the money to spend like you did before. And now, of course, we've got all this demand and the increase in pricing and everything else. So now you've got hurting businesses and crazy, inflation going on. How are you going to do that?
And I would echo one thing to consider as well. Q1 of last year was actually a really good quarter for the industry, if I'm not mistaken, Chris. It was Q2, 3, and 4, the 2 specifically that had the biggest drop. So if you're comparing year-over-date increases, Q1 of this year still is probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, still is probably way lower than Q1 of last year. So if you measure Q2 to Q2, that's really where the most pain of the industry, I think, was felt between 20 and 21. Is that pretty accurate, Chris?
Yeah. Yes. I would say that Q1, the first 10 weeks of Q1 2020 were awesome. We're awesome. Like by every account, everybody was like, we're crushing it. This is going. So we're coming into a presidential election year. That's gonna, Stokes. It was just a lot was going well. And then the last 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks really of March were so drastically awful that it was enough to actually take Q1 as a whole for last year and reduce it relative to 2019. So I think we were down year last year by about like 5%. Now this year, because those first 10 weeks of Q1 were so good in 2020, we were down again as an industry. So boo. Right. But I'll go out on a limb and I will say that we are going to be up as an industry for sure in Q2 this year relative to 2020. I do not think we're going to be at 2019 levels, unfortunately, but could we maybe be at a 17 or 18 level, possibly, given from some of what we're hearing anecdotally, and that's still billions and billions and billions of dollars. So
yeah. So given that we were, down 19.8% or whatever last year, what, just with some foreshadowing, since you're going there, what would you consider or think that we'd be at after this year?
Oh man. I wish I could give you like a super informed opinion. I will say that I think one of the big variables will be, and I'm giving you like a politician's answer, I'm sorry, but I think one of the big variables will be that PPE was obviously so huge for us as an industry last year. It's not going to be this year.
Right.
It's already not. So the question comes down to, is there going to be enough demand for traditional promotional products to make up that ground? In Q2, absolutely, because Q2 was just so bad last year and we hadn't pivoted to PPE yet. But in Q3 and then at least in the first part of Q4, there was solid PPE sales. So what we're seeing, I would say, we're seeing enough encouraging signs in the marketplace to suggest that at the very least we should be around par with what we were in 2020. But a lot of that is contingent on, does reopening, stay where it is, and society and events keep coming back the way that they seem to be now, and do clients have the marketing budget to spend the way they once did? So if you had a bottom line it, I would say that I think that we're going to be around par and hopefully up from 2020. But the big variable is, can we make it up on make up the PPE sales that we won't have this year?
In numbers to numbers, I mean, if you lose, 20%, I think that's like you have to increase about 37% just to even get back to where you were.
Think about that.
Yeah. So it's, it's not just you make back your 20, you're back to whole, 20 of 21 billion instead of 20 of 27 billion. It's a much different number.
Yes, it's huge. Yeah, and when you think about it in those terms, it seems kind of daunting. I do think that there's a potential for another, like a super strong fourth quarter and like a really nice third quarter. Just looking at things, it's my own social life, right? Like you guys are seeing it. Concerts are coming back. You could go see a ball game again. Stuff like that like matters. It has a symbolic effect. People are like, okay, we can go do things again. And that leads to more events. That leads to the restaurants and bars doing better. They want to then spend on promo, et cetera. So I see more of that continuing to happen. It is an open question though if we're gonna get there in terms of year-over-year increase. I agree, Steve.
I think it depends on how well the distributors are able to get the end users to actually start purchasing ahead of time as well, because the inventory is obviously going to be able to play into those numbers. If the inventory is not there for the sales, the sales won't increase. So.
You heard it here first, guys. Order early and order quick.
Yes. Yeah.
We're not trying to salesperson you. It's just Chris said so.
One other thing that I wanted to mention too, since we're talking about containers and taking so much longer and everything else, I know it's a hot topic for a lot of distributors with suppliers showing new product at the shows in January. Well, since we're going to be back at in-person shows in January, I'm sure there's going to be new product that gets launched. How do you think this is going to affect people's timelines, suppliers' timelines to be able to get new product in? Will they foreshadow enough to actually start getting that stuff in the pipeline now? Or will it take some time and you won't see actual new product in inventory until April, May, June of next year?
You asking me?
Yeah, your opinion.
Yeah.
You're the expert here.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Here's what I would say. I would say that there's in some of the what I would call simplistically the good suppliers who are really out ahead of this and who know what's going on. They are planning ahead for this, and they are planning for their 2022 spring collections or whatever, however you'd like to refer to it now, and they're trying to get them in early. So for the ones who are super aware of the shipping situation and are being proactive about confronting it, I do think that they're going to have new things to show. Maybe it won't be the breadth of products that they would normally show, but I do think there's going to definitely be new stuff to show. But if you're someone who's dragging your feet, if you're someone who's afraid about committing to inventory ahead of time because you don't want too much cash tied up, if you're afraid about spending on product development, then you might not have a lot new to offer in January, because if you're waiting till like the middle of autumn to try to get stuff stateside.
Awesome. Very good points. Do you guys have any other questions for Chris about the topic for today?
I mean, we could talk for hours. I feel like there is so much. And, guys, Chris, he's a great resource. I follow him on Twitter. I highly recommend everyone does. He puts out articles, videos. They're very easy to follow and read. And he's a great wealth of information. So highly recommend following him. What's your handle on Twitter, Chris?
It's at Chris R_ASI.
All right, great.
Chris, you do a newsletter too as well, right? How can people sign up and get involved in that?
Yeah, sure. If you go to asicentral.com/news, there's a place on there to sign up for our we put out a daily newsletter, the daily update. It has whatever we file multiple articles, videos, podcasts, etc. Daily, And then Promogram is kind of our flagship newsletter. It's a little bit more comprehensive. That comes out on Tuesday and Thursday. And you get all those in your inbox. And then we have a newsletter on Saturday, Week in Review, that kind of wraps things up for the week.
And Chris, if I'm not mistaken, the state of the industry kind of Q1 report should be coming the next few weeks or so. Is that about right?
Yeah. So the state of the industry is it's even bigger than Q1. It's everything. It'll basically sum up everything that happened in 2020 and what's happened so far in 2021 and where we're going. That'll be in early July. And it's
cool.
You'll have like the top 40 suppliers, top 40 distributors. People are usually interested in that. So all that stuff's coming in the next few weeks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Thanks for the plug, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with no other questions, why don't we launch into rapid fire?
Let's do it.
All right. Anybody want to go first? If not, I'll go.
Go ahead, Jeff.
All right. So, Chris, you mentioned baseball games are coming back and things like that. You can go to concerts. So what's the first thing that you're going to do that's like large in-person event? Are you going to go to a ball game or a sporting event, a concert? Like what's your an amusement park?
Yeah, I think we're going to a Phillies game pretty soon. So.
All right. Meg, what about you?
Oh man.
Going to Massachusetts doesn't count.
If you had to choose between inventory.
No, you got to answer the question.
I can't
answer my question.
What's your question? Oh, forgot. Sorry.
You guys can hear me, right?
I'm sorry. I would say.
Meg's new.
I don't know.
All right, Steven.
I don't know.
I'm
going on
Disney.
vacation next week, so I think that's going to be the first thing I do.
So Steven says Disney. Meg,
yeah, because that'll be. I will be in Disney Sunday.
That's right. Nice. Yeah, you will miss the podcast next week.
But do not miss it, everyone else, because it's very special, and I'm super excited to watch it.
Yeah, Meg and I have a little something special planned for you guys. We've got 2 guests coming on next week. So, all right, Steven, why don't we go to you next? What's your question?
Oh, what was your thing though, Jeff?
Oh, probably just looking at the timeline of things, there'd probably be a hockey game or an amusement park. One or the other, Hershey Park or Caps game.
All right, my rapid fire: burger or chicken sandwich?
Oh, burger. Yeah, burger. But burger or fried chicken, that's like more of a debate,
I'll let you choose if it's grilled or fried.
If it's fried, I might go fried chicken there. Yeah.
I mean, if I'm making it, I'd say burger. If I'm getting it at a fast food joint or something, I got to go with a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich.
Yeah, it's high quality stuff.
Yeah.
And you, Meg?
I'd have to go with a burger, I think. I like a good burger with some bacon, some A1, some avocado. I'm all about that life.
I'm really looking forward to Vegas just for the burgers. They've got some really good burgers out there, man.
No, the food. All right, my rapid fire question. I was going to go with the chicken sandwich, who has, let's do that. Who do you think has the best chicken sandwich, fast food wise? Because it's a debate, worldwide debate.
Oh, I would go Chick-fil-A there if we're talking about quote fast food.
Yeah.
Who else is even in the conversation?
Yeah, I don't even.
Popeyes, KFC, McDonald's. Your favorite
Chris, were you able to think of a rapid fire?
Oh, mountains or beach? What's your preferred?
I think it depends, man, on the time of the year or where the location is. Like if it's Caribbean, if it's a Caribbean beach, I'm
never easy with Jeff.
I'm going
rapid fire.
Yeah, probably beach.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm normally beach all the time. Every year we go to the Keys. I love it. But this year we're doing something a little bit different. We are going to Maine. There's waterfalls, a lot of hiking. We're going to national parks, no beaches that we're doing. So that's my answer. I'm down the middle.
Where exactly in Maine are you going, Meg?
We're going Moosehead Lake first, and then we're going to go to Bar Harbor.
Where location wise? Because I don't really know Maine that well. Is that
Moosehead Lake is central north.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I've never been there, so I don't know.
Right.
I saw it on Island Hunters once, and I'm like, I gotta go.
I was gonna say, because if you're not too far from Mount Washington, you should definitely go there and do the auto road. It's freaking incredible.
Okay. Will do.
Yeah. Really cool. All right. What about you, Chris?
I know it's rapid fire, but I love being in the water at the ocean. I don't always like the super crowded beach scene, so I think I hedge toward mountain.
Yeah. I mean, why not just have both, Like,
Yeah.
why do we have to pick?
Because it's rapid fire.
I didn't pick. I
Hey,
picked
my rapid fire answer, both.
Good.
All right, fair enough. Well, look, this sort of platinum level broadcast was brought to you today by TechWeld. Look, USA made in a world filled with worry regarding overseas products. They offer many USA made products to help separate themselves from the promotional products pack. Hand sanitizer, due to coronavirus outbreak is still something that's trending worldwide. And the CDC recommends sanitizing and washing your hands to help prevent the spread of the disease. And they've got many sanitizer SKUs to help combat the spread of the virus. Another thing that they really do well over there is they, come kit around with us. They've got this big kit initiative, which has been huge over the last 15 months. So they've got 8 different stock packaging ideas for their kits. They've got an EVA bag, a PVC tent pouch, PVC tube, the organza bag, pillow pouch. They've got a BTL 202, which is a 30-ounce tumbler, and then of course the retro lunch boxes as well. So not many players in the industry are focusing too heavily on kits, which really allows them to hone in on the market and with these products and really expand upon their already vast kit line. So go check them out at techweld.com for more information. That's TEKWELD. You won't be sorry that you did. Chris, really appreciate you coming on. Sorry for the technical glitch there. My internet just spazzed out. I don't know.
Hey, thank you for having me. Like, realities of working from home. No worries.
Kidding. Well, I mean, technically, realities of just being online, that crap can happen at work too.
Yes.
So, all right, guys. Well, really appreciate you being on with us. And again, special edition next week with Meg and I and 2 special guests. So we'll see you then. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Promo Corner's Industry Insider. For more great content from industry thought leaders, including podcasts, blogs, and videos, visit promocorner.com.